Welcome to the exclusive. I'm your host, Sharon Tharp. I'm back with another recap for Traitor Season 3, and I'm very excited to be joined by my friend, Big Brother winner, and Traitors Season 1 alum, Rachel Reilly. Rachel, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to talk about Traitors this season. I'll tell you, it was a slow start, but now I'm like, oh my God, this is a season. Wow.
Yes, This is a great episode to have you on. There's a lot going on.
So much.
We'll try to go in some sort of order, but we might jump around because there's just so much going on. But from a high level, you did season 1, we had season 2. You see this cast. Were you impressed with the cast? We're like, okay, like excited. What did you think of the cast when you first saw them?
Well, so I loved that they have I love like the Big Brother, Survivor, all that. And then I didn't know about Derek, but I knew about Wes because of Worst Cooks. And then I love that they have Boston Rob come in. So I think that that's a really fun twist. I like that they did that. Like, I think that's really fun. But this cast is great. Like, I think Dorinda would have given us a lot. Like,
we lost her too early.
I know. That's what I thought. I thought we lost her way too early. Chriselle, I'm like obsessed. Tom Sandoval, like, are you kidding me? We got Scandoval right in the heat of Scandoval. Like, who else? I mean, obviously Brittany, Danielle, like, they're amazing. It's great. The cast is great. Brittany is giving us amazing diary rooms, which she always
does. We need more of Brittany, though. We didn't get enough.
Well, that's what I said. I thought because it's early, there's like 20 people, but she has some good one-liners. She's really good at the interviews.
Yep. She's the best confession, probably, like, of all Big Brother. I think she's always been the best in the DR too. Yes, so it makes sense that it goes over. Did anyone from Big Brother ask you for advice or did you give any unsolicited advice?
No, they did. And I was like, I couldn't tell you. First of all, it's a totally different game that I played because my Traitors season was so different. But then also, like, how do you give advice on how to play that game? It's like, it's just, you can't. Like, if you're faithful, like, don't get murdered, don't get, it's like, it's so hard. Don't get banished. You have to play this like fine line. There's no real strategy because it's so cast dependent. And like, until you are in that situation, you can't really have a strategy. And everything changes. I mean, this episode, like, wow, would have not guessed, so it just changes on a dime. This show is very unique.
I agree. I think it's very cast dependent. And especially like early on, they're going off nothing. Like, there's nothing to go off of on. So it's like, if you get murdered the first or banished the first few episodes, it's hard to even blame people because it's like, it's so early. But
that's why I think the first 2 banishments are like kind of just chicken. It's like, whatever, like, it could be anyone. There's, nobody's really done anything. You have nothing to go off of. They're like, oh, you sneezed after he picked Traitors. Like, it's like nothing. So I think that the first few banishments are usually really kind of like whatever, but then you get a banishment. This
is the turning point.
Yeah. Then you get a banishment where you're like, oh my gosh, we're playing Traitors, folks, and we have the kings and queens of gaming in this turret. Like, wow. I was blown away this episode.
Yeah, so I guess let's talk about that. We have 4 people in the turret. We have 2 survivors in Carolyn and Boston Rob. We have Danielle from Big Brother, and then we have Bob the Drag Queen. Your thoughts on just the picks of the Traitors? What did you think of that?
I thought it was good. Like, Danielle, a great pick of a traitor, especially we wanted her for her comeback. We wanted to see her do this like traitor game, right? Like, I think she's going to be excellent. I'm really glad it was her. Carolyn, I think, is a great, great pick. And I really think she's playing the best traitor game so far from what we've seen. And then Rob is so obvious. So if I'm in that castle, I don't care if he's a traitor or faithful. I'm literally going to get him out because it doesn't matter to Rob. But of course, you're going to want him as a traitor, playing this game as a traitor. And then Bob the Drag Queen, so fun. I think we could have had Bob the Drag Queen be the leader of the faithfuls, and I think he would have done a good job. And I'm kind of sad because especially like how this all like, happened or whatever. I don't want to, we're going in order, but I think because Bob the Drag Queen has such an explosive personality and like a very fun personality, and everybody loves him. I think it's like having him as a faithful, I think could have been to his benefit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And he would have been just as messy as a faithful. Like we didn't even need to have him as a traitor.
Yeah. Right. 100%. Yeah, exactly. Maybe as a traitor, he lasted a little bit longer. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. Okay. Well, where we sort of left off of the last episode, the Traitors met in that sort of book closet wine cell, whatever we want to call it. I'm curious though, because you've been on the show. I was like, is this just editing? Like, what's going on here? Would production really risk them finding that like coffin? I don't know. What did you think about that whole scenario?
The coffin, yes. I think production would risk them finding the coffin. Oh. Now, the door, that's what I'm saying. Like, Gabby was like, oh, I heard Danielle. Like, it's just like any other room. Because if you think about it, like, they can go into the billiards room and close the door. They could go into, there's like a million rooms you can go into and close the door. I used to pull people aside and be like, I want to talk to you in private. Come with me. The only thing I wonder is if like, was it locked? But even then they could still say, oh my God, it was unlocked and we're in there. It's risky, but it's definitely like, I wouldn't immediately assume they were doing like a traitor mission being in that room together. And the coffin, I don't really think it's that big of a deal because it's like, if they're all in there together, they find the coffin, the door is closed, they have enough time to write down something on it. If someone walks in, it's a little risky, but if they hear someone coming, like they'd have to hear someone open the door. It's a heavy door, so they're going to know they can put it away. Right.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
There's ways to cover it up. It's not like the worst mission, but I like that the Traitors have to do missions. I think that they should.
Yeah. Make it a little hard for them. Yeah. I agree. And so they have to pick 3 people to put in these coffins. No surprise, Danielle wants Jeremy in one because he said her name, which I think is pretty fair. Yeah. And then we got Nikki and Sierra, who I don't really know what they did wrong, but it seems like there's suspicion on both of them. What did you think about these 3 picks? And should a traitor have gone in the coffin, or did they make the right move, you think?
I kind of still think they should have put a traitor in the coffin. I think putting a traitor in the coffin would have been like I think it would have been a smart move. But I think their argument was then someone's going to assume there's obviously a traitor in the coffin. So I think I get it. It's either way. It's like, if it's a 50-50 like roulette situation, it's like, are you betting on green or betting on red? It's just kind of like, you never know. Right. But I think if I was a traitor, I would have gone in the coffin, and then putting Jeremy in was really risky for Danielle, and I don't think it was a good idea. And I think Caroline should have spoken up, because I think her keeping Jeremy would have been to her benefit.
Okay.
Yeah. And it doesn't really benefit Danielle, but it would have definitely benefited Caroline because he was going to work with her for sure. Like, he was Survivor strong.
That's why. So what do we think about Rob and Carolyn sort of letting Tony, not that they let Tony go, but Boston Rob definitely piled on there, and then letting Jeremy go, like 2 survivors in a row. You got to assume one of the survivors is a traitor. I probably wouldn't have done that. I don't know.
No, I wouldn't have done that either. I think that was really, I think it was not smart at all. And Boston Rob was definitely piling it on Tony. Like, he was the reason. The thing is like, sure, Rob's the hero today, but like, he's kind of the reason Tony went home, and now he's the reason Bob, the drag queen, goes home. Like, is he giving himself up? Like, he's this amazing gamer, but is he also like overplaying his hands? Yeah. So it's a hard, I don't know. I wouldn't have let 2 survivors go, especially Tony, because you can always come back and say it's obviously Tony is a traitor. Right. He's won Survivor twice. He's like a diabolical traitor. Like, he's like the best person to pin that on.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what they did, what they were doing.
Well, when it comes to Jeremy, was there anything Jeremy could have done differently? Any mistakes you think Jeremy made?
Yeah, absolutely. When he had two chances. When he walked into the coffin, he could have screamed out, "The traitors, if I get murdered tomorrow, it's because Danielle and Rob are traitors," or whoever. He knew that Danielle, he like really thought Danielle was. Then she couldn't have murdered him. And then he could have, when Alan asked him again, Alan said, "Is there anything you want to say?" He could have said, "If I get murdered, it's Danielle," or, "Hey guys, watch out for Danielle. It's definitely her." And she would have been like, "Oh no, he's putting this on me, blah, blah, blah," but he wouldn't have gotten murdered.
Good point. Good point. It's like, you already put her name out there. You're probably going to be murdered anyway. You might as well just go full force and say out loud.
Tony should have gone for it when Rob said, when he started attacking Tony, that was sus. Tony should have been like, "I think it's sus that you're coming at me because like you gave me a shield and then I didn't talk to you enough. So now I'm a traitor all of a sudden. I think that's sus." Like,
yeah.
I think it's I think the survivor teams are scared to like go against their buddies. That's what it feels like. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
I don't know. Okay, so Jeremy obviously gets murdered. I'm sad. I really like Jeremy. I definitely think, throwing Danielle's name out there, knowing Danielle, like we know her, if she hurt and it got back to her, she was never going to forget that. So once you say Danielle's name, it's kind of tough to come back from that. But we see Jeremy go home, breakfast comes. Gabby sort of talks about Danielle being in that bookcase, but kind of that goes away. No one really says much about that. We have Robin chiming in. Robin's reads are not good. I don't know.
What do you? So bad. They're just. She's like the Quentin of this season. Like
yes.
Oh, that everything she says is wrong. It's like what? Like just don't talk, Robin.
Yeah. How do you think the housewives are doing? I think Dorinda probably would have done the best, but she left.
Yeah. 100%. I think. Well, I think the housewife picks, like Dorinda's a great pick, but like I want to see like, I don't know, Bethany Frankel in there. Like, you know what I mean? Like give me like some housewives that are real messy, that are going to yell at these people. Like the Phaedra, don't come at the housewives. Like that was amazing. But these housewives are just like, oh, whatever. Like we're hanging out. Like it doesn't seem like they're as spicy,
Robin's a little bit, but just bad reads, wrong direction.
Yeah, exactly. And I like her interviews, but I'm just not into. It feels like she's not really traitor hunting. It feels like she's just kind of, I don't know. I think there's no way Danielle's a traitor. Like, where are you?
She said the same thing about Bob. She's like,
yeah, exactly. Exactly. There's no way.
We see, I think this is the only time we even see Sam. When I just liked when he walked into breakfast, mentioned Brittany Haynes, but everyone was like, Britney Spears? Yeah. That's the only thing he's there for, right? Like, what is this guy doing there?
Him and Ivor, they could I wouldn't be sad if they murdered either one of them. Like, they were easy. I know.
Not doing much.
No, they don't do anything. I really think like they're too easy. If they want to make good TV, like get rid of Ivor and Sam first, keep the housewives, and then like let's play traitors.
Yeah, who was like? Someone was saying they're like, let's just get out the boring people in the beginning.
Yes, that's what I would do if I play Traitors All Stars. When I play Traitors All Stars,
yeah.
If you're not there to make good TV, like I'm gonna get rid of you. I don't care. Like, even if I'm a faithful, I'm just going to banish you because you're boring. And if I'm a traitor, you're going to get murdered. Because, like, get rid of the boring people that aren't doing anything. And then, like, let's play the game with people that are there to have fun, play the game. Like, we're making a TV show. Let's have a good time.
Yeah, and honestly, chaos in the castle is a good way to hide, too. So, like, it's not a bad thing to have a lot of crazy personalities in there.
100%, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we also see... people are sort of still sus on Nikki and Sierra. Anything they should be doing to throw off that sus, or is it kind of like, I feel like they're not doing enough to convince people? I don't think
there's anything you can do. Like,
yeah,
because I know once people think you're a traitor, you kind of either want to lean into that because then you don't want to get murdered, or you. Like Nikki is lucky because she has her girls. That Bambi squad, they're not going to vote her out. Even we see Gabby's like, I don't care if she's a traitor. Like that's how I kind of would be too. That's your traitor angel, right? It's like,
yep.
Well, if you're a traitor, like we'll figure it out in the end. So I don't think she's in danger, but Sierra, I don't really see Sierra. Who's Sierra's people? Like we don't really see her with a lot of like a group ever.
Yeah, she hasn't gotten too much screen time, and then all of a sudden she's accused. Yeah, you're right. She doesn't have a
I don't see
like
her
a
with like
one.
Right, and like you see, like when they do the clips from the castle, you see like different rooms that people are in, and I don't ever see her in the rooms of stuff that they're showing.
That's such a good point. We saw her a little bit with Bob just walking, but again, that's just walking in the hallway. Like, what does that even mean? Like, is it
right? Exactly.
We also see Tom Sandoval think he has like a huge epiphany. Like, I think Sierra got recruited last night. What do you think of Tom Sandoval in the castle? How's he doing?
He's so messy. He's just like, I was saying, I think I told Brendan, I was like, I think Tom is just like, has never done anything like this. He's just so out of his league. Like, he's just like, I think he just wakes up and shows up at the castle and like has no idea what's going on. Cause he's just like, he's trying. He's like really like he's trying to be in these conversations, but every scene we see him in, he's like, oh, what? Like what? He's like very confused. And I'm sorry, my dog, I don't know why, like leaves me alone all day. And then like she wants to come play the second I get on this podcast.
She's not bothering me, so it's totally fine with me. She's adorable.
She is very sweet. She just wants me to throw the ball.
Yeah. Well, I guess we can briefly talk about the missions. You know, the missions are still kind of like, but they're giving a lot of shields away, right? Way more than they used to.
So many shields away. And, you know, I liked last season when you had to like go after your own shield. If you wanted a shield, this season, it's like, there's 10 shields up for grabs. Like, what? I would have loved 10 shields. Like, are you joking me? That is crazy. And Wes is so right. Like, give me a shield. I'll be at 11. If I don't have a shield, I'm going to be at a 4. Like, that's the truth. Because if you don't have a shield, if you know you could be murdered, you kind of have to monitor what you say at the round table. But if you have a shield, then you just go for it. Like, say whatever you want to say. So I wonder if like that's why they're giving out more shields, because they're just like, if these people all know they're safe tonight, then they can just kind of go for it. Yeah, they can get messier.
Yeah. So do you think there should have been a strategy of who they picked of the 10 people, or would you just bolt and be like, I'm just getting my own shield? I don't care.
I mean, I would just get my own shield, but I think like they could have had a strategy where if they're smart, they would have been like, okay. And they did a little bit. Like Wes was like, I'm getting a shield because I want to call out Nikki. So that was, and his people, the people he had talked to were like on that side. Like Bob, Bob H was definitely like struggling. He's like, I don't care. I just want to try to get my shield up the hill. So like, I loved that they helped him get the shield, his head up the hill. Like I thought that was a really special moment. I loved that moment. I love Bob H on the show. I think he's such a great choice, and I wouldn't have expected it.
Yep, and he's unexpected.
He's very unexpected, and I just love, like, I feel like we get to know him. I feel like he's the voice of reason. He's moving the game forward. I really like his, like, him in that game. I was gonna say his character, but like just in general, like I like getting to know him in the game.
Right.
But yeah, I think if they were smart, they should have had a better strategy.
Okay, yeah. I think it was Derek. He also, do you think goodwill goes a long way in this house? Because like we've seen on Big Brother, people throw comps and stuff and then get voted out anyway. Like Derek sort of helping Bob, helping the other people, not getting a shield. Was that smart? Was it not?
I mean, at the end of the day, like it wasn't smart because it's like you're going to get murdered. It's not like, it has nothing to do. It's not goodwill. You're not like earning points with the house. There's no jury. You could still get murdered. So the best thing to do is make sure you're safe. And then you can like have the goodwill, like, hey, I'm a team player. But also I think, as a matter of fact, if people looked at that, like, are you helping him get up with his head, get up the hill because you're safe? You're safe because you're a traitor. You know what I mean?
That's
so it's point. Like, so helping someone can actually hurt you because it's like, well, Nikki and Sierra didn't get shields either. So I'm like, well, that's dumb. They both have like suspicion on them. So should they have gone for getting a shield? Like they probably should have, right?
Yeah, but I mean, who pointed out? Definitely Alan pointed out. It was like mostly men. I think there was.
I know. It's because they were just got up there quicker. I know.
Yep.
The first ones were all the men. I know.
I gotta give it to Brittany because this is where we got the confessional about Peloton. So I thought that was funny.
That was
I was
really
like,
funny.
we need more of Brittany.
I know, that was a great confessional. And she's so right. That hill is so intense. Like, I'm telling you, nobody understands how crazy that hill is. And like, I mean, Kate like was throwing the barrels out. Like, that was the most. I work out all the time, and like getting up that hill was very intense.
Yeah.
Like,
I love Gabby too, being like, I haven't worked out in a year.
Yeah, exactly.
I appreciate the honesty. Well, okay, so they finish the mission, and then this is where Bob the drag queen. I keep saying dragon. I don't know why it keeps coming out of my mouth, but he mentions, which I think everyone is still thinking, that one of the 3 new guys has to be a traitor, but for some reason he says it out loud, and Rob is not happy.
No. As soon as that happened, like, you're like, and when Rob is gonna like cut you, you're done. But yeah, I don't know why he said it out loud, because like, again, he's a traitor, right? Like, you know who the traitors are, so like, you don't need to try to convince people who traitors are. So he is kind of dangerous in that like fact. But if he would have been a faithful and said it, it would have been smart. You know what I mean? But I don't know. It's just like, he shouldn't have opened his mouth about that.
Yeah, I just didn't understand what the benefit of saying it was, especially because you're already a traitor. And he doesn't. I think you could tell that Rob didn't really know Bob the drag queen's past, and Bob the drag queen doesn't know Rob, because even when they were sparring at the table, I'm like, oh, they don't know. They're both pretty intense, and they're going at it.
Oh, so, yeah. That was spicy. Well, yes. And I think that Bob, the drag queen, underestimated Boston Rob, and was also thinking that he wouldn't get mad because there's 3 guys. And so that he was probably just thinking like, oh, well, that's fine. Like, it's not going to put a big target on Boston Rob. But like, you're done after that.
It's like Jeremy saying Danielle. It's like some of the gamers, like, don't say their name because they won't forget that. Once you say their name, it's done. But before we got to the round table, Rob was like, he was trying not to lead the charge on Bob the drag queen. He was trying to let Dylan plant the seeds. Obviously that changed when he got to the round table. But do you think it like, are the votes usually locked when you go on the round table? Is it better to get to people before you go in there, or what do you think?
I don't feel like, well, again, my season was so different from these next seasons. So for our season, we didn't have time to talk to people before roundtable. It felt like they only wanted us to talk to people at roundtable. Like, we had our time in the cars, which, so you can talk to your group of like 4 people in the car, but that's not really going to get you, because you don't know who you're going to be in the car with. You don't know if you're traitors in the car, like all the things. So I think you had to talk, everything had to be at the roundtable. I've noticed that they do talk a lot more around the castle now, the last season and this season. I think it probably is beneficial to have the conversations before you go to the round table, because you do only get so much time at the round table. Like, they don't give you hours at the round table. They're like, Alan does shut you down. He's like, okay, it's time to talk is done. Like, you have to vote. So I think that if you are going to plant a seed and you want it immediately, you have to be able to like execute it. But if you're like planting a seed for like next week or the next banishment, then you can just keep talking about it because you have time. But you don't really, nobody ever has time in that house. Unless you're a traitor and you know for sure that like you're not getting banished, nobody has time because you could get murdered.
Yeah, I understand like wanting to blindside people and like risking them finding out. But I think we learned with Dan last season, like, if you don't have the social capital, you really aren't going to, it's hard to change votes at the round table. It seems, right?
Well, it's definitely hard. But then if you if you're not speaking up at all, like that was Dan's biggest problem. He just didn't speak up. Then nobody's going to listen to anything you say. Like, it doesn't matter what you say or how you present it. And like, even Dylan says like to Robin, he's like, okay, well, I think it's to Robin. He's like, I think it's Bob the drag queen, but I don't have the votes because now Wes is pushing for Nikki. So he's like, I can't go after him tonight. So I have to go with Nikki, I guess. But he's like, I think we need to just keep that in the back of our heads. So you have to like, it has to be both, I think.
Yeah, I think it depends too. Like if the person you're targeting, if like Dan targeting Phaedra, it was a double whammy because you're also targeting someone everyone loves. And so you kind of have to figure out before what the plan is. Yeah.
And you have to figure out like if everyone is going to stick up for that person. Like how many friends do they have in the group, and do their friends in the group also think they're a traitor, or do they care? Or like, you know, Phaedra, nobody's going to care. Like they're just going to keep Phaedra. Like, sorry, Dan, you're done.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think with this one, I think enough people probably had already had that suspicion because Bob had been saying stuff the whole time. Like, you know, I mean,
he talks a lot.
Yeah, he talks a lot. And so it's like a lot of people were thinking him, but then they were like, okay, it's probably not him. He's probably just sloppy or like whatever. But I don't know.
I'm still surprised we're on season 3 and people are still like not willing to vote for people when like for Nikki not willing to vote for Bob when she's on the chopping block too. I'm just not understanding. Like there's a lot of like rogue votes still. Like even when Tony was banished, he didn't vote for the next person. He didn't vote for, I guess it was Bob or whoever it was. He just like, I just feel like people aren't counting votes properly before either. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. But
Nikki and Bob must have had like some sort of like discussion because I also was wondering, so everyone was talking about Nikki, right? So then Bob brings up one of the guys in the cage or whatever. Yeah. So I'm the 3. So I thought that, because I did mention that to Brendan too. I was like, do you think he's protecting Nikki? Because Nikki also kind of had his back. She's like, I'm not going to say it's Bob. And then, so I wonder if they did have like some sort of like, I won't say it's you. You don't say it's me. We'll protect each other as much as we can. So I wonder if like he was trying to save her and then it got him in trouble kind of thing.
And also, so we see before the roundtable, Rob grabs both Carolyn and Danielle in public too, which I thought was interesting. Like, I guess it's like a double bluff or like the traitors would never meet in public like that, but he grabbed them and they were not thrilled with his choice to get out Bob. What did you think? I get this at this point, like, is this the right move for Rob to do right now? Or was it too early, do you think?
I mean, I think Rob was just like done. Like he just had, like once he felt threatened by him, I think he was like, got to chop off the head, you know? Like if Bob is talking that much, you got to just like get rid of him. I think the problem was, I think it was the first episode or as soon as Boss and Rob found out that Bob the drag queen was a traitor, he had already like been talking a lot. And then we saw at breakfast where Boss and Rob was like, you know, Bob, you're saying too much. He said Danielle is saying too much. So I think he's just kind of like threatened by like that he's going to say something
wrong. Yep.
Like, you know, like put it on Boss and Rob. And he's probably just like, well, I'm not going to let you get me. So I think it was like a preservation thing.
That's true. Do you think it was they needed to give the faithfuls a traitor right now? Like, what is it a good time to like? Yeah, it was a little early, right?
So it was a little early. He kept saying like, "Oh, we need to give the traitors or the faithfuls some blood." I'm like, I don't think so at all. Like, and the faithfuls don't know how many traitors there are. They're probably thinking 3. So they're now thinking like, let's assume they think there's 2, right? After they got Bob. It's just like, I don't think they needed to think that because now they're just going to constantly think also someone's going to get recruited. And it just changes the whole way that you think as a faithful because you kind of don't know how to predict what's actually going on. So no, I don't think they needed to I mean, what we've had like season or episode 5 is usually the first time, right? Is that true for both seasons? I think
5 or 6, it's got to be around there. It wasn't this early.
Cody went out it was like episode 5. Yeah. And I think that like Dan didn't go out for a while. I think
it was 6 maybe or 7.
Yeah.
Even.
I mean,
it might have been 7.
Yeah. You don't really need to give the faithfuls a traitor ever if you can't.
Especially because these faithfuls aren't really that great.
No.
at Reed's.
No, and they can like literally just like they have so many people to pick from to murder and blame it on, like murder Ivar and blame it on Sierra. Like they don't really need to like murder one of their own, like get rid of one of their own. You know, they have like plenty of people that they can blame these murders on. Like Wes, I think Wes is saying too much too. Wes has a lot of good points, but like the way he says them sounds like a traitor.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, he's really into like after Nikki, and
yes.
I'm not really, I don't think his logic is that great. Like, oh, she's a performer. Well, all that they're all performers.
Right, literally. That logic makes no sense. And then the fact that he says to Ivar, like, how do you know if someone's a traitor? And then like Ivar says, like, you don't. And he's like, yes, you do if you're a traitor. Like that to me, then I'm like, oh my God, are you a traitor? like now I know Ivar's for sure not a traitor. And then and then I'm thinking like in my head, well, Wes, like, why would you say that? That makes you sound like a traitor.
Yeah, Wes is like, I don't know if this is his game. I'm not super impressed with him so far. And I really like Wes, like from the challenge.
Yeah.
But I think he's a little bit out of his element with all these people. He's also the only challenger there, which should be pointed out. Like he doesn't have a buddy in the castle.
Well, I think he has great, like, I love his interviews and I love like, you know, his personality in the house, in the castle. But yeah, I don't think he has like a team. And I think he needs that team. Like he's very much that's just how they do it on the challenge. Right. So like, that's how, and that's on Worst Cooks too. Like we're on teams and he's like very much the team guy. He's like, you know, helps us every week with like our challenges and like, he's very much a team kind of person.
Yeah. It is kind of sad to see. Cause I'm like, he is so smart, that guy. And if you can tap into that, you could really, use him. But yeah, he's going after Nikki. We see Derek sort of calling out, I mean, a bunch of people are calling out Sierra. How do you think Sierra's doing? Do you think Sierra and Nikki are still in trouble moving forward?
Well, we don't really, I feel like Sierra is, because I feel like we don't really see Sierra, which makes me think like, I don't know where she is. Like, I feel like we see Nikki a lot, like just walking around the castle, like, even if it's not about Nikki, I see her in the background with a group of people. But I never see Sierra like with a group of, like when they show like people walking in rooms, I don't see Sierra in the room. I see Nikki in the room, like a lot of rooms. I see like, I always see Wes in a lot of rooms. I see like, you know, even Ivar is in a lot of rooms. But I don't feel like we see Sam and I don't feel like we see Sierra a lot.
That's a good point. Yeah. I mean, obviously editing, we don't know how much she was doing, but I kind of get the sense that both her and Nikki, like, they're still going to be looked at after this roundtable. It's not like their sus is gone.
I feel like Nikki has her friends. And Chriselle's never going to vote for her and Gabby's never going to vote for her. So it doesn't matter. And because they have the three of them, like that is power, because if your friend, you're trying to get out your friend, like nobody's going to let you get out their friend. You know what I mean? Like if you're in a room and everyone's like, hey, we're going to get rid of Nikki and Nikki's my best friend, I'm going to be like, no, I'm not going to get rid of Nikki.
And do you see them as a voting block though?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they typically vote, well, except for the Bob the Drag Queen vote, they have voted similar.
Right. That's true.
I mean, they're definitely like a pair, like they're alliance, right? They're like a pair, or I guess it's three of them. They're a threesome.
Yeah. I mean, Gabby, like you said, Gabby said it best. She's like, she could be a traitor, but like, I don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
She's not voting she's not going to kill me.
Right. Exactly.
Kind of what I think Sandra was doing with Parvati a little bit, probably. I'm not really sure. But okay. So we see the showdown. Rob makes his big speech. He looks directly at Bob. Bob seems very startled. Do you think this sort of battle will go down as one of the better roundtables we've ever seen?
Oh my God, it was so good. It was so good. I want to say it was maybe the best one. I don't know. Well, Dan and Phaedra was really good, but this one was just like, I mean, it was equal on that level.
Yep. How do you, I guess, was there anything did Bob handle that well, or could he have done better? What do you think?
don't know. I don't know what they're allowed to say. That's what I want to know.
Same.
Yeah, because like I think he could have said more if he like I just wish I knew what they were allowed to say, because I think the way that he said stuff just put a doubt in people's mind. Whereas like if he could have just like full out been like, no, Rob, you're the traitor. Like you were in that little thing. You're obviously one of the three are traitors. Derek, are you traitor? Derek's no, I'm faithful. Wes, are you traitor? No, I'm faithful. Then it's Rob. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing. I think he could have like turned it on him, but I just don't know how much they're allowed to like say. Like I kind of
I agree. I wonder if production's like behind the scenes like freaking out like, okay, just don't say anything that's going to ruin the whole game.
Right,
because it is tricky. It is tricky. Like you can accuse them, but like you can't say. But even Rob was like, "Well, if it's not him, vote me on X," which is a saying 100%. I don't know. It's 100%.
Yeah, I think he like did himself in by saying that too.
Yes,
but nobody's picked up on it, so I'm kind of wondering if like.
Well, Wes did, I guess, a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I feel like they will pick up on it eventually. I don't know. I mean, that was risky for him to do. He must have really wanted out Bob. Like he really felt like he needed to get him out.
I don't know. I get the sense that this is going to come back to bite him a little bit and then we have Carolyn and Danielle who are not thrilled, right? Like how do you think the turret's going to be going forward? Or is there distrust there now?
I mean, there's been distrust. Like Caroline every week tells us like, I don't get a say in anything. Like, what am I even here for? And I really feel for her because I think that they're just not listening. Like, they don't listen to her at all. Like, murdering Jeremy was like so dumb for Boston Rob and for Carolyn. So it was not to either one of their benefits. But Danielle was like, we're doing it. Murdering like, oh my gosh, what's the second housewife's name? I totally just slipped my mind.
Well, Dorinda, Dolores.
Robin. No, the one that was
Ian.
Ian, right. Ian. Murdering Ian was so like Carolyn was like, I don't want to do that, and they just didn't listen. They're like, we've got to murder her. So I think like nobody's listening to her in general. So I bet she just feels like she's not, I don't know.
And that's why no one thinks she's a traitor, because no one like takes her seriously.
Yeah.
And I feel like Carolyn might outlast the rest of the traitor.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Right? Like that's good for her. Yeah. I think it's great for her, but as far as it's frustrating. It's like nobody's listening to anything I'm saying, but that's good because Danielle's already got suspicion on Danielle. Now there will be suspicion on Rob. I mean, it's
Carolyn's skating. She's good.
Yeah.
For now, at least. Yeah. Toward the end, we see Dylan is they're all enthralled with Rob now, right? Like Dylan, now Rob has his number one buddy. Tom Sandoval's like, I'm listening to everything he says. So this will be, I don't know.
That's a dangerous place to be though, too, right?
Good point. Like, he's rallying the troops, as Rob always does on these shows, right? He always gets his...
Yeah. But then it's like, it's not, you don't really want to be at that point to rally the troops because then someone is going to figure it out. Like they need to get rid of you. It's like still a competition game. So if you're in charge of all the troops and rallying the troops, like, and you're wrong time after time, and they're going to get, and then Caroline and Danielle are going to have to turn on Rob at that point too, because it's like only a matter of time.
Yep. We saw in the preview, it looks like they're not really thrilled with him. Do I think that's going to happen right away? I don't know, but I definitely think those two, it might have brought Danielle and Carolyn closer together, to be honest.
Yeah, we'll see what happens because maybe they'll be the voting block with the two of them.
It could be. I think I'm trying to think who else we didn't talk like. Who didn't get like Dolores doesn't really get much screen time.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I want a Bethany Frankel in there. Like, give me like some crazy housewives. Like,
I'm sure we'll keep getting them.
Yeah, we need like the really outspoken ones.
Okay. What about? Chriselle's getting some screen time. Chriselle's a Big Brother fan, isn't she?
She is. Yeah. So I think it's like really, I'm so excited that she's on, and she's like got the best fashion in the world. And she is a Big Brother fan. So I'm surprised that they haven't pulled Brittany into their group, because
I thought that too.
Yeah, that's the first thing I thought. When I saw the rumored cast, I was like, oh my God, I bet Brittany, Chrishell, she'll probably work with Danielle. Like, I kind of assumed that because she is a Big Brother fan, would gravitate toward them.
I thought the same thing. I did a deep dive on Chrishell's tweets. I don't know when, but she used to tweet about Big Brother 12, 13, like all those seasons, yours included, I think. Yeah. So I was like, oh, Brittany and Chrishell just make sense. Like,
yes, I would have thought they would and maybe they are, and we're not seeing it. And maybe they're like behind the scenes, or they'll become friends later. I don't know. Cause I filmed a soap opera with her. Like, yeah, like years ago, like 2014 or 2013 or something. So I got to meet her, and she would told me like, oh my God, I'm such a Big Brother fan. And, so I used to, keep up with her, but not recently. But yeah. And so I'm really excited to see her on the show.
Yeah. Okay. So speaking of the Big Brother people, we got Danielle, Brittany, and Derek. How do you think they're playing? Are you happy with the Big Brother, like, sort of contingent this year? And who do you think is going to last the longest out of those three?
Well, I think Danielle's doing a little bit much. And I love Danielle.
Great TV, though.
She's great TV. Yeah. Oh, she's great. And I love this Danielle that we get to see her. She is bringing everything that we want to see. Unlike Dr. Will on Dondi, but whatever, that's a different story, a different show. But she's doing everything that we would want. I mean, she's really playing the game, and she's fun. She's great TV. She's doing a little bit much, but whatever. Brittany is bringing her, confessional diary rooms in. Like, she's really funny. She's very fun. She has great fashion. I love it. I think Brittany is going to last the longest. I kind of think Derek's a little boring, and he has bad reads on this season. And I don't know, like, I'm not just being mean or anything. I just kind of feel like I think he's not really doing anything. Like, he's just kind of like, it doesn't feel like he's trying to go after a traitor, or it feels like he's just kind of in the game, but not in the game.
Okay. Yeah.
I would have expected him to be more aggressive.
That's interesting. Yeah. I think he knows he's boring for sure anyway, but I also think it must complicate it, because he must know either Wes or Rob is a traitor, because he's a gamer. Like, I think you could do the math. Like, one of us is probably a traitor. So I don't know if we're just not seeing it.
Right. And he has to know one of the Big Brother people is a traitor too.
Right.
He's not a traitor. He has to assume Danielle or Brittany's a traitor.
Yeah, good point. We're just not seeing a ton. I mean, there's so many people in there. So that's the other thing. You're not like seeing everything yet. As obviously we whittle down, you see a little bit more of people, but who's so far on the cast is like impressing you? Who are you like, okay.
I love Bob Harper. Like, I think he's just, I love everything about, like, I love his stories he's sharing. And I think that's nice that Derek, like, we saw a little bit of that, like, nice camaraderie with Derek, like, bringing his head up and stuff. So that was nice. I just think I would have expected Derek to go in with, like, I got to prove something, got to, super sleuth it kind of thing. And he just sits in the rooms with people. Like, I don't see him talking to people. I don't see him, like, making an effort to, like, find out who the traitors are. So who's impressing me? I think, I mean, like, obviously, like, Carolyn is, like, I think she's doing a great job. I mean, she's not really getting to be herself, or, like, she's not getting her way, but, like, she's gonna outlast them.
Working out.
Yeah. Obviously, Boston Rob's impressing us all. And Dylan, I would have never expected that Dylan, like, he's so cute and so sweet, and I would have thought he would just be cute and sweet, and, like, pop, there he goes. He's, like, calling out these traitors one by one, Like,
I will say, Dylan, like, for as demure as he is, he didn't back down from Bob. He was being very nice, very kind, but still being like, you're a traitor, even when Bob was, like, full force at him. So props to Dylan for holding his own there.
100%. Yeah, I really like him. He's probably one of my favorite people on the season. And I wouldn't have expected that either. I thought he would be I kind of assumed he would be boring, but he's really definitely very impressing me a lot. But I think it's a fun cast.
Yeah, I'm having a good time. Do we think the Faithfuls or the Traitors are going to win this season?
Just by like how it's
so
gone so far, I think that the Faithfuls will win because the Traitors are messy.
I get that sense too.
Yeah,
I'm like, I don't know. This is going to blow up.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. If they end up like self-sabotaging, then they'll probably have to recruit. Yes. And at that point, the Traitors could win. So
that's what I was going to say. Is it too early for them to have a recruitment, you think?
I think so, because there's 4. And I guarantee like they're not going to keep it at 4 because now there's less people and like, you know, they don't need 4 traitors in a house when there's like 16 people or 14 people. Cause then you're like, if there's too many traitors, it's kind of like, you know, a disadvantage too.
True. I do think the production team probably eventually wants a recruitment. It just, I guess it depends on how the game shakes out a little bit.
For sure.
But a recruitment's always fun too, though.
The recruitments are so fun. I'm sure they'll do a recruitment. But I think it's like they're not going to recruit it at 4. I feel like they would recruit when it's like 2 traitors are left. Let's recruit a third. Because then 2 traitors have gone. So I don't know. We'll see. I mean, they do it different every season. That's why they want to keep us on our toes.
Yeah, which is smart. Yeah. Any other who in the Big Brother world do you want to see play next season?
I mean, like obviously Taylor Hale. Yeah. Like my sister would be fun. She really wants to play. Who else? I mean, I'm thinking like old and new. I feel like there's just a lot of good options. But they've had a lot of good options too. Like maybe like a K-Star might be fun, you know?
I was thinking K-Star, maybe Josh Martinez, maybe
like Josh would be really fun. Yeah, Josh would be great. He's messy. Yeah. He would be really fun.
Exactly.
Josh would be great. Make him a Faithful and he's gonna be a hoot. I feel like I'm trying to think who else. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of good Big Brother players, right? But
yeah. What do you think Taylor should be would you want to see her as a traitor or a Faithful?
I
feel like more fun as a traitor to see her as a traitor, but I don't know.
I feel like she'd be better as a Faithful. Like she's not really like, I don't want to say you don't have to be diabolical to be a traitor, right? But like she doesn't strike me as someone that's like as good with like being like putting up that front. You know what I mean? Like I think it would be harder for her to like just continuously lie to people or like continuously like be a traitor. Whereas I think like she's like almost like a Cody. They think in their head they can do it, but then like you know that they can't.
Interesting. Okay.
Because Cody said it was like the hardest thing, right?
Yeah, because if you're not someone who inherently is a liar, which hopefully most people aren't, but especially Cody, he's just that like good guy. He's not like it's hard to turn that on. Like a Suri is like, this is easy. I'll just turn it on.
Right. Well, and like same with Boss and Rob. Like they don't care. It's just a game to them. Like they literally get into game mode and like they're so calculated. They don't even think about it. But I think it's definitely harder when I feel like Taylor would be really good Faithful.
Yeah. I'm excited. I hope she plays. And you mentioned, so you're interested in doing an all-star season if they do one?
Yeah. I think they're going to do one. I think so.
I think so too. I think it'll come up. Maybe not season 4, but maybe season 5 or something. I don't know. That
would be cool. I don't know. That would be, they have enough good players.
Who else would you want to see in there with you?
From
the last couple seasons, yeah.
I mean, definitely Janelle, obviously Phaedra, but I think we don't want traitors. So I think you don't put traitors on. I think
they got enough screen time anyway. It's fine.
Right. True. Very true. I think it's just like Faithful. So I think Janelle, I mean, I would love to see Michael play again from my season. Yeah, I loved him. I loved Andy. I think Andy would be better the second time because they got really in their head. And so I think if Andy played again, it would be totally different.
Make Andy a traitor though. That'd be crazy.
Oh my God. Could you imagine? I don't know if Andy would be a good traitor. I feel like Andy would just get
probably not, but
no, I think Andy would get too much in their head. So I think it would not be work. It wouldn't work. But maybe, I mean, like if we're not doing traitors, then not Kate, but like obviously they love Kate and they love Poverty. So and Phaedra. Like, it's like you want to bring them back, but they've already been traitors. So I don't know if we want them for an all-stars. Same with Suri. Like, you want to bring Suri back, but they've already been traitors. Like, who, I mean, there was so many, like, Trishelle was so good, but she won.
That's a good point. All the like good people wouldn't be probably, yeah. I mean, I would like to see some of the, like, even Tony, like, I feel bad. I don't know if he would do good again.
I would like to bring Tony back. Yeah.
He's messy. Like, he'd be good TV if you brought him back.
I think he would be way more aggressive too, like outspoken. Yes. Like, I think he would be really fun to bring back. I mean, like, Tamara would be really fun because I think she would be even more outspoken too.
Well, anyone that's felt like they didn't play the game they wanted to is going to come back a little more aggressive, right?
And she just got murdered by her friends. So she would probably be just like, no, none of y'all are my friends.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, honestly, Brandy Glanville would be a little crazy. Like,
I don't know if she's allowed on NBC or Peacock. I think there's a lawsuit going on, but
I mean, she would be fun to bring back.
Well, Rachel, what's going on with you? Tell us about Worst Cooks before we go, because I told everyone I need to watch this.
Yes, it's so fun. It's like probably one of my favorite shows I've filmed. It's like such a fun, we are just laughing the entire time. It's so crazy. My first episode, I make chocolate lasagna.
I saw that clip and I was like, what?
It's so good. It's so good. I made Brendan taste it, and my friends, I cooked it for them, and they were like, I mean, it tastes like a dessert with turkey in it. So it's like not horrible. And then I'm trying to think, like, we have
a good cast.
It's such a good cast. Yeah, the cast is so fun. We have had so many fun laughs. The first episode was 2 hours, and then like every episode's an hour and a half. So you'll have like plenty of time to watch it. It's really fun.
I love cooking shows, so this is perfect
Frankie's
for me.
Crazy on it. Frankie's amazing. We get to see like all the fun. It's like the fun parts of the characters that you like watching without all the like messy drama and everything.
Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna ask you, would you ever do like House of Villains, or are you not interested in that?
No, I would. I think I was going to do season 1, but it just didn't work out. And then I was like an alternate. I ended up being an alternate for season 1. So, I mean, I would probably do it. I think it's not really like the first season I was like, oh no, am I a villain? But now I'm like, I get it. It's like it's not that you're a villain. It's like you go in there and you're messy and have fun and compete.
You're good TV, basically.
Yeah, you make good TV. That's that's who I am. So
exactly.
So I would totally do it. That would be fun. But Worst Cooks is, it's really funny. I will say, and my costumes are really out of control.
Yeah. So how do you prepare for that? Do you hire a stylist, or do you just do it yourself? Like, I'm always curious, even on the Traitors, do most people hire someone?
For the first season of Traitors, we didn't know what to expect. So I just kind of like got together my clothes. I was like, I don't know, this is great. I would wear this. This is cute. I put it together. And then for Worst Cooks, they said it was heroes versus villains. So I was like, I'm going to be every iconic villain, like cosplay character that I can be. So like the first episode, I had like a red one-shouldered thing with a cape. And then the second episode, I had like green lipstick on and like a piece of ivy in my hair, and like I'm dressed in all green. So I'm like, I look like Poison Ivy.
Yeah.
And then like, I tried to like just go crazy. I mean, listen, my fashion is not, it's like out of control for Worst Cooks. Like, it's not like something you wear.
That's what I love.
Right. Exactly. It's fun.
Yes, exactly.
So
well, Rachel, I just
do it.
Thank you so much for recapping. I'm very excited to check out Worst Cooks. Was it Worst Cooks of America or Worst
Cooks of America? It's on HBO, stream on Max, or you can watch on Food Networks every Sunday night. So Sunday night at 8/7 Central, we're on. And then the next day on Stream on Max or Discovery Plus.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, Rachel. Really I'm sure we'll talk again, of course. I love having you on the podcast. You're always welcome back.
Thank you. Yay. Thank you so much.